Hi, this is Zach here with the Halloween edition of the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe. It is obviously Friday, the 31st of October. Starting off with the FTSE 100, which has managed to withstand, well, actually it has come down after Keir Starmer noted that we were at record highs. Rather ironic if Wednesday was the peak of the rally, but let's see what happens. That was actually the high of the day then 97.87, so let's see if that actually happens. But moment down 0.5% for the FTSE, still hanging around near the best levels and just back within that rising trend channel from June, the top of that channel 97.30. That was a previous target. At the moment we're hoping that we won't see anything lower than 95.77, which was the initial October resistance for this market. On the upside, looking for 98.30, that red May resistance line projection as an end of November target. Obviously, that's not too far away, but we're always modest here, conservative here, and looking for 98.30 while we're above 95.77. Next up is the DAX, which has been, as I said, there's a data for quite some time. The falling 50-day line, not helpful, but so far we're finding support at it, around or just below the 24,000 level. While we're above 24,000, looking for a break towards record highs to 24,800 and then as high as 26,000 by the end of next month. On the downside, hoping that we'll have the floor of the channel there from April, 23,800 as support for this market. But the way that the RSI is falling below neutral 50, the way that we've had three failures in the low 50s or the mid 50s of the RSI, that tends to be a rather dodgy or rather tough sell signal, a reliable sell signal as well. So let's see if that happens. If it does happen, we kick in badly, then it would be the 200-day line at 23,300 as potential target. But to the moment, just hoping that we stay either above the 50-day line or the floor of the channel. The Dow is next, and here still heading towards the top of that May 2024 rising trend channel, 48,300. We were looking for that by the end of next month, and obviously the way things are going, that should be relatively easily achievable. On the downside, the initial October resistance around 47,000 is the potential support for this market. Moving on to the cryptos and starting off with the situation at Bitcoin here, disappointing in the sense that we've had to test towards the floor of that rising trend channel from back in March. You can argue that we actually bounced off that yesterday, but let's just say so the line stays like that. Yesterday's low around 106, but 106 still looking for a range between that level and recent resistance around 116. But only a clearance, obviously, at 116 really opens up 130 by the end of next month. In terms of the RSI, we're still well below neutral 50, so we still have the risk of rolling over through the floor of the channel 106 and then maybe having to test June support at 98,000, which would be quite a horrible thing given the way that the Bitcoin Treasury strategy stocks are perched at the moment. Ethereum is next, and here we had an uptrend line from April, which was holding until yesterday, but was sort of it's as if the market's seen this uptrend line, so that's around the 38.50 level. Actually, at the moment we're below it, so in fact we'd be looking for the floor of the channel there, 35.20, that channel there from back in August as a potential downside. While there's no break back above that uptrend line from back in April, the problem here is that the RSI is at 42, and therefore gives scope for a move to the downside. Best on the upside at the moment, the 50-day line just under 4,200. Gold is next, and here we've got a situation where we're trying to work out whether we have actually had a near-term top or not. The old target area around 39.60 is now coming in or has come in as support. While we're above that, looking for the resistance on the way down 41.60, even if we then come back down again. RSI is pushed back above neutral 50, so a bit more of a chance of at least partially retesting the record levels towards 4,400. Moving on to the stocks and starting off with Andrada, where I see one or two people are getting more encouraged by the price action. That's probably right in the sense that basically since the beginning of last month, we've had the 200-day line rising here. And so that it tends to be a sign that there's been a change of trend. I don't think the 200-day line has been rising for, more than 2 years, actually. So that is interesting. What's also interesting is that the 50-day line is starting to push up as well. So that could be a sign that there's finally a turnaround here. after a bear trap from below the old July support for this market. But at the moment, at least while we're above the floor of that rising trend channel from October last year at 2.7 pence, looking for another push towards the 3.5 to 4 pence area, basically post-March resistance. Best case at the moment is that by the end of next month, we're up towards the top of the channel there, 4.65, although it has to be said, the pattern of most of this year so far has been basically somebody selling any strength at or above 3.5 pence, which is obviously rather irritating. On to Alkemy, and here it's kept on trucking. The situation is we've got this breakout, top of the channel there, heading towards £3.60. We're looking for that by the end of next month while we're on the right side of £3. The former Cell AI is back in the form of Astrid Intelligence. It seems to be doing rather better with its new name than its old name. The reason for inclusion today is that we've managed to break back above the 50-day line for the first time since the end of June, which is quite an achievement to just see the way that we've got a rising trend channel base there, top of the channel there up to 0.17. We've been looking for that by the end of next month if we get a proper weekly close above the 50-day line at 0.11. Fragrant Prosperity is next, and here a bit of a bounce here as well, so which is quite good after the pullback from 2 pence plus that we had back in April. Here you can see they've broken out of that falling trend channel there at 0.82. Above that, looking for the top of the range and the top of a triangle there from back in June through towards 1.4 pence. Bit of a punchy call there, but given the way that the 50 and 200-day lines are both rising now, it's actually quite a punchy chart. We've actually had clear candles there for the best part of a week, so a decent setup there while we're above that 0.82 level. Next up is Genedrive, where we have a benefactor for the company, helping the shares at least, even though I don't think he's put any money in. But the £1 million facility could be on its way, and 1.3 pence, the 200-day line, would be the target for the shares by the end of next month. On a technical basis, ideally we stay above the latest gap there at 0.88. But what has to be said is that the market seems to be betting on the funding coming through for Genedrive. Ironveld is next, and here got a situation where we've gapped up above rising 50 and 200-day lines, which is normally a good thing. So we're looking for the shares to at least retest 007 by the end of next month at some point between now and then, while we're on the right side of 0.05. Kefi is next, and it looks like it's finally starting to stretch higher and fulfill the type of upside that its fans have been looking for. Obviously, we've been on the case here since 0.52 or that sort of thing at the beginning of August, and it's been a reasonably straight move to the top. Here you can see that we've got the top of the channel there up to 2.13. We're looking for that by the end of next month while we remain above, well, basically above the recent 1.2 to 1.3 pence support zone. So hopefully Kefi will deliver. We've had two bounces for the RSI in the recent past at and above neutral 50. In fact, we've had multiple bounces here above neutral 50 since the beginning of August. So that shows how strong the RSI bouncing at 50 or above is as a signal for a stock or market. Kistos is next. Haven't looked at this for ages, but you can see that we are heading higher quite nicely at the moment. Top of the channel there, up to the £2.30 level. We're looking for that by the end of next month, while we remain above recent broken resistance around £1.75. Got these shares bouncing above a rising 50-day line, and also they gapped off the lows. There was a bear trap gap reversal, so this looks as though it's serious in terms of being upside, delivering upside, even though obviously we're still within recent ranges. Mkango is next, and here we've got a picture which is slightly messy, slightly volatile, but rising trend channel here, the floor of the channel there at 50 pence, top of the channel there through 82 pence, and we're looking for 82 pence by the end of next month, especially while we remain on the right side of the overnight gap, which was at 59.5. On to the last two. The first one is Panthera, which seems to be limbering up quite nicely now. You can see that we've had a little breakout there, bull flag breakout. The initial target here was around 22 pence. Above that, we're looking for that red December resistance line projection as high as 33 pence. And looking for that actually by as soon as the end of next month. So quite pleased and confident with the setup there, Panthera. Finishing off with Warpaint, which has had a bit of a rocky ride over the recent past. And if I can type in the correct chart, that would be helpful. W7L is the code there. Here you can see that we're just trying to nudge the 50-day line there. That's around the £2.37 level. Above that, we'd be looking for the top of the gap there, £2.75. So a lot to play for there. Just looks as though there's a base in place, recent neckline resistance around 225. So that might be something that people find interesting as a potential recovery situation. With the uptrend line in the RSI window and also pushing through RSI 50. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.